And before the next moon appeared, the peace inside the village would begin to disappear again. More in here, still on our story, The Orphan, episode 8. Let's dive in. Heavy rain fell throughout the night across Umuaka. Thunder rolled above the village rooftops. Inside his mansion, Chinedum sat awake near the window. The strange dream still troubled him deeply. The glowing stream, the moving shadows, the old woman's warning, protect your heart. Those words refused to leave his mind. He sighed quietly and stared into the darkness outside. Even with all the wealth surrounding him, part of him still remained the lonely orphan boy who once slept hungry beside the kitchen wall. Sometimes the silence inside the mansion felt too long, too empty, too unfamiliar. Suddenly, soft footsteps approached behind him. It was Papa Nana. The old man had been staying temporarily inside the mansion while his own hut underwent repairs funded by Chinedum. You are still awake, Papa Nana said gently. Chinedum nodded slowly. I cannot sleep. The old man walked closer carefully. You saw another dream? Chinedum looked surprised. How did you know? Papa Nana smiled softly. Your eyes carry fear. The boy lowered his head quietly. Then he narrated everything. The glowing stream, the shadows, the old woman's warning. When he finished speaking, silence filled the room briefly. Rain continued falling outside. Finally, Papa Nana spoke. Sometimes blessings attract attention. Chinedum frowned slightly. What do you mean? The old man sat down slowly. When wealth appears suddenly, not every heart celebrates honestly. The boy listened carefully. There are people, Papa Nana continued, who believe they deserve what belongs to others. A strange uneasiness entered Chinedum's heart. The old man's warning became softer, and greed never rests quietly. Far away from Umuaka, in another village called Obinago, a man sat inside a dimly light room, listening carefully to a traveler. The traveler spoke excitedly. I saw it with my own eyes. The man leaned forward slowly. You are certain? Yes, the traveler nodded repeatedly. Gold, silver, diamonds, more wealth than I have ever seen. The man's eyes narrowed dangerously. And this wealth belongs to an orphan boy? Yes, the traveler swallowed nervously. They said they got it from a forbidden stream guarded by a mysterious old woman. Silence entered the room. Then slowly, the man smiled. But it was not a kind smile. It was cold, dangerous. His name was Ikem, and throughout many villages, people feared him quietly. Not because he shouted loudly, not because he fought often, but because greed controlled him completely. Ikem believed everything in life could be taken by force, trickery, or fear. Money, land, power. Nothing was ever enough for him. Now, after hearing about Chinedum's treasure, a dangerous hunger awakened inside him. Prepare my horse, he said calmly. The traveler looked confused. You are traveling? Ikem stood slowly. Yes, his eye darkened. I want to meet this orphan boy. The next morning, sunlight returned beautifully after the long rain. Villagers filled Chinedum's compound once again. Some came for help, some came to greet him, others simply wanted to add the mansion. As usual, Chinedum welcomed everybody kindly. No pride, no arrogance, only humility. A widow arrived carrying her sick child. Immediately, Chinedum provided money for treatment. An elderly farmer complained about damaged farmland. Chinedum promised to help repair it. The villagers became even more amazed. He behaves like wealth never changed him. Meanwhile, nearby, some young men whispered among themselves, "If I had his treasure, nobody would see me outside helping people." Another man nodded, but that is why the blessings continue following him. Unknown to everybody, a pair of eyes watched the compound carefully from a distance. Ikem had arrived, dressed like an ordinary traveler. He stood beneath a tree, studying everything silently. The mansion, the villagers, the guards near the gates, and finally, Chinedum himself. The dangerous man narrowed his eyes slowly. So, this is the orphan. Something about Chinedum irritated him immediately. Perhaps it was the respect surrounding him. Perhaps it was the peace on his face. Or perhaps it was because greed cannot tolerate goodness comfortably. Later that afternoon, he came entered the compound pretending to be a humble traveler. Chinedum welcomed him politely. "You are welcome, sir." He came forced a warm smile. "I heard stories about your kindness." Chinedum nodded respectfully. "Please sit." Food was immediately brought before the visitor. Ikem observed everything carefully. The expensive decorations, the polished floors, the workers moving around respectfully. But most importantly, he studied Chinedum's behavior closely. No pride, no carelessness, no drunken display of wealth. That disappointed him slightly because proud people were easier to manipulate. Still, Ikem remained patient. During the meal, he spoke casually. "They say your blessings came from the forbidden stream." Immediately, silence entered the room slightly. Chinedum lowered his eyes. "The forest helped me during difficult times." Ikem smiled carefully. "And the old woman?" For a brief moment, fear crossed Chinedum's face. Papa Nana noticed immediately. The old man stepped forward calmly. "Some stories are not meant for careless discussion." Ikem turned slowly towards him. Their eyes met briefly, and instantly, no man trusted the other. That evening, Ikem received a room inside the mansion as a guest. But long after everybody slept, he remained awake, quietly searching, opening drawers, studying rooms, looking for treasure. His footsteps moved silently through the mansion's corridors. Then suddenly, he heard something. A whisper, soft, distant. "Leave this place." Ikem froze immediately. He looked around sharply. Nobody stood there. Again, the whisper came. "Leave this place." Cold fear touched his spine briefly. Then anger quickly replaced it. "Who is there? Who is there?" he hissed. Silence. Only silence answered him. He came tightened his feet angrily. "No spirit can frighten me." But unknown to him, far away inside the dark forest, the forbidden stream had begun glowing softly beneath the moonlight. And standing beside it silently was the old woman. Her face carried deep concern. The next day, Ikem followed Chinedum secretly around the village. He observed everything carefully. The villagers respected Chinedum deeply. Even elders listened when his children ran happily towards him. Women blessed him openly. The more Ikem watched, the more jealousy entered his heart. How can an orphan gain this much? He thought bitterly. By afternoon, he finally approached Chinedum privately. You have done well for yourself. Chinedum smiled humbly. I have been fortunate. He stepped closer slightly. Tell me honestly, the air suddenly felt tense. What truly happened inside that forest? Chinedum became quiet immediately. Memories rushed through his mind. The old woman, the glowing stream, the mysterious calabash, the whispering wind. Finally, he answered carefully. Some blessings cannot be explained properly. Ikem's eyes narrowed, but they can be repeated. Chinedum looked uncomfortable. I do not think the forest works like that. Ikem smiled slowly. We shall see. Something about the way he said those words made cold fear move through Chinedum's heart. That night, the village celebrated a small festival. Music filled the air. Women danced around fires. Children laughed joyfully. For the first time in years, happiness truly covered Umuaka completely. But in the middle of the celebration, Chinedum suddenly noticed something strange. Ikem was gone. Quietly, without telling anybody, fear immediately entered his heart. He searched around quickly. Nothing. Then suddenly, the old woman's warning returned loudly inside his mind. Greed is coming again. Chinedum's breathing became heavier. Without wasting another moment, he ran towards Papa Nana. Papa, the old man turned quickly. What happened? I cannot find Ikem. Immediately, Papa Nana expressed change. Where would he go? Chinedum looked towards the dark forest road, and suddenly both men understood at the same time the forbidden stream. Meanwhile, far away inside the forest, Ikem walked quickly beneath the moonlight carrying a lantern and empty bags. Excitement filled his face. At last, he muttered proudly, the treasure will become mine. The deeper he entered the forest, the stranger the atmosphere became. Cold wind moved through the trees. Strange whispers echoed faintly. Branches creaked above him. Then suddenly, a familiar voice called softly from the darkness. My child. Ikem stood immediately. The old woman slowly appeared beneath the giant tree. But unlike before, her face no longer looked peaceful. It looked troubled. You should not be here, he said quietly. Ikem smiled dangerously. I came for the treasure. The old woman stared at him silently. There are hearts the forest refuses. Ikem laughed coldly. Everything in this world can be taken. The old woman's eyes narrowed slowly. No, Ikem stepped closer boldly. I know what to give the orphan boy. The old woman remained silent. And now, Ikem whispered greedily, you will give it to me too. The forest wind stopped moving completely. Even the trees became still. The old woman's face slowly changed. Not anger, not fear, something far more frightening, disappointment. Then softly she whispered, you still do not understand. The end of the episode 8. Do well to subscribe to this channel if you have not done that so that you don't miss out in the next episode. Thank you.